Hello everyone, I hope all of you are doing well. The face that you see on the screen, you might have guessed it, that's me. My name is Bhagyesh and I work as an enterprise solutions engineer with Katalon. In this video, what we are going to cover is how Katalon integrates with Cypress. Now, if you're hearing for the Katalon for the very first time, I'll give you a small introduction about Katalon, what it is. Katalon could be seen as a solution that's an AI augmented quality assurance platform. Now, what do I mean by that? It makes use of AI and it allows you to perform testing in a low code manner, which makes it easier for any kind of persona in your team to perform testing. Along with that, it not only allows you to perform web testing, but it also covers mobile native app testing, desktop testing, as well as API testing. Now, there's just a small introduction. When it comes to testing lifecycle, Katalon fits at each and every stage of the testing lifecycle. It starts from release planning, where it allows you to perform release planning. It allows you to author your test cases, organize your test cases, view reporting and analytics, and along with it, it also allows you to execute your test cases. Now, lots of these features in a single platform. Isn't that amazing? So why you should select Katalon? It's a low-code solution, which means that it becomes easier for any kind of persona in your team to start recording the test cases. By recording, I mean they just need to perform manual actions, and these actions would be recorded, which could be played back again in an automated fashion. We have integration with lots of DevOps tools. Any tool that you can name of Katalon integrate with it. And along with that, we also offer integration with lots of other popular tools, be it the bug tracking tools or application lifecycle management tools. We have a good global community. Along with that, we cover all the aspects of the testing, and it's an AI augmented platform which ensures that the test cases that you build using Katalon are robust and resilient. Now, in this session, we are going to cover the integration in between Cypress and Katalon. And what I've done is the repository or the source code, project code that I'm going to use to highlight this integration. I've already pushed that code on GitHub, which means that you would be able to access the file or the repository directly from the GitHub. I have made this repository as a public repository, and I have also specified the URL out over here. Along with that, what I'm going to show you on the next screen would be the notepad on which I have jotted down the points that we are going to follow so as to accomplish our end result or so as to achieve our end state of this video. I go to point number one. We have created multiple pointers. First pointer is need to create a new folder. So let me go to desktop. I'll create a new folder, and here I have this folder. I will name this. You can name this as anything as you want. I'm going to name this as Katalon Cypress integration. So here this folder has been created, and this folder is completely blank or empty folder since we have recently created it. Now, if I go to step number 2, here we get to see that you need to go inside this folder. So you need to open up your terminal. I can open my terminal like this and maximize the screen. So here you can see I am in the root directory. I'll go to the root directory. Now I'm in the root directory. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go inside the new folder that we have recently created. So I'll just perform a drag and drop like this. And here we are inside the new folder that we had created. Now this looks good. Now what we are going to do is we are going to go to step number 3, that is run npm init command so that this folder gets a package.json file. As of now, it's completely empty. So I'm going to go to terminal back again, and I'm going to run npm init. First thing that is going to tell me is give name for this package. So let's say I'm going to name this package as Katalon Cypress integration. Now make sure that there are no capital letters in the package name. Those are discouraged. This name looks good to me, and I'm going to press enter, enter, enter. I'm going to skip all the other parameters, and this is the new package.json that has created for me. It is asking me whether it looks good. Yeah, it looks good to me. I'm going to hit OK. Now, if I go back to the folder, which was initially empty, now you can see that there's a file that has been added, and this file has been named as package.json. Now, this is a good start. What we are going to do is we are going to go to step number 4, since we have already completed the 3 steps. We are going to read through this documentation. So if you are new to Cypress, you should know how you should be able to install Cypress, how to install Cypress, and how to open the application. So for installing Cypress, you need to go inside your project path, that is the folder that you have created. We have already gone inside the folder directory. Second thing is you need to run this command, there is npm install Cypress save dev. So this will basically save it as in dev dependency. I'm going to go to the terminal. We are already inside the folder. So I'm going to directly execute this command, that is npm install Cypress save dev. I'll hit OK, and you would be able to see that it installs Cypress package. And this looks good to me. In the meantime, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up Visual Studio Code. And inside Visual Studio Code, I'm going to open up a new window. I can close the old window that I already have. And inside this, I'm going to open folder. What was the name of folder? It was Katalon Cypress integration that resides in desktop. So I'll go here inside desktop, and here we have where it is. Let's check. Here we have Katalon Cypress integration folder. I'll open it. And if you see inside package.json, we have got Cypress. There is something that we installed by making use of the command that we executed last. So this has been added now. This looks good to me. Now what we need to do is we need to go to the next step. And let's see what the next step is. Now you need to open up the Cypress by using npx cypress open. This is already something that's mentioned in the Cypress documentation as well. So you can see this. Npx cypress open is the command that you need to execute after installing Cypress. Let me execute this command. So I'll write npx cypress open and I'll hit enter. Please make sure that whenever you're executing these commands, you're already inside the project directory. So we are inside the project directory. That is, we have performed cd Katalon Cypress integration. This was the command to enter inside this particular folder. Now, if you see, it has opened up the Cypress application. It's telling us that you can perform either end-to-end testing or component testing, what you want to get started with. I'll click on end-to-end testing. It is telling us that we will add all these files to your project so that it becomes easier for us to get started. These are the sample test scripts that it is going to add, sample spec file that's going to add. And this looks good to us. So I'm going to click on continue. It's asking us which is preferred browser of your choice for starting with end-to-end testing. I'm going to go ahead with Chrome. I'll click on start end-to-end testing in Chrome. Now, once I click on it, it's opening up the Chrome instance in the background, as you can see. And here it is going to tell me to create a new spec file. So I have an example of either selecting the example step, or I have an option of selecting the new empty spec file or creating the new empty spec file. I'll go with the second one. And I'm going to name this spec file as end-to-end step. Katalon end-to-end. And I'll click on create spec. And as you can see that it is going to add this inside spec file. Now, every spec file would have describe block as well as it block. Describe block could be considered as an entire test case, and it block could be seen as in multiple specs that are inside those test cases. It could have multiple it blocks. So inside a particular scenario, let's say where you're performing end-to-end test case, here you could write end-to-end test case. Here you could have navigating to URL. In other it block, you could have logging in with your credentials, and in another block you would have something like adding product to carts, and same goes on. So I'm going to click on OK, run the spec. Initially it's going to run the example spec that it has created for us that we were able to see now, where it is going to go to Cypress examples website, as you can see. But what we are going to do is we are going to manipulate this spec file. Our end goal is to perform testing on Katalon's healthcare application. I have got lots of tabs open up, but I'll show you how Katalon healthcare application look like. So here we have it. This is how the Katalon's healthcare application looks like. And what we are going to do in this is you can access this application as well. This is publicly accessible. We are going to click on make appointment. We are going to sign in using our login ID, this username and password. And then from the Cypress script itself, we are going to select on the drop down, we are going to play with multiple elements like checkboxes, radio buttons, date field, and we are going to write something here inside the text field. And we are going to click on book appointment. We are going to verify whether this message is available on the screen or not. And then we are going to click on go to homepage. So this is how the end-to-end test flow is going to look like. So what I've done already is I have created a test case along with me. And this is how the test case looks like. I'm just going to copy paste this entire test case. If you are new to Cypress, if you want to see how test cases could be created, you can refer to the Cypress documentation, which helps you first to get started. What I'm going to do is I'm going to open up Visual Studio Code. I'm going to go inside Cypress end to end, and here you can see that this was the spec file that it has created. Cypress has created for us. I'm going to remove it and paste the content here. So if you see this time, what we are doing is we are basically having a describe block. Inside this describe block, I would write end to end healthcare lab test. I'll append Katalon's end-to-end Katalon end-to-end healthcare app test. Okay. Now, first step is we are going to go to URL of the demo application. That is by using cy.visit command. Then we are going to perform a login operation using our credentials. So here we have entering username, entering password, and I have commented the steps out as well, which might make things easier for you to understand. And here we are hitting the login button. So once we are logged in, we are going to play around with the different web elements that we just saw in the registration form. So here we have the drop down. Similarly, here we have a checkbox. Here we have radio button. Here we are playing with the date field. And then we are entering something inside the text field. And then we are just verifying whether the appointment was booked successfully or not. So this is the entire flow. This is how the test case looks like. Now, what we have done so far is we have created a project. We have installed Cypress, and then we have created a test script as well. So regarding the setup, everything is done. But now it comes to the part of the integration where we are going to integrate this project with Katalon. So let's see how that could be done. I'll go back to the Chrome window. And let's see, we have already completed 6 steps out of 9 steps, I believe. Yeah, let's go to the 7th step. Inside scripts, you need to enter this. Now, why you need to enter this is something that I'm going to explain. Now, the sample project that we have created, package.json that we have created, inside scripts, we haven't entered something while creating it. So now it shows that it's whenever you run npm test, it will give you this error. Let's try this out. And I'll close this using Control C and PM test. And here you can see it is giving that error. No test specified, but this is not something that we want. We want whenever we run npm test, it should trigger the test case that we have developed using Cypress. So what we are going to do is we are going to change the script part. So I'm going to remove this from here. I'm going to paste new script section here. So here you can see the build is set to TSC, and whenever you write npm test, it's going to call this command, that is node cypress CLI.js, which means it's going to call a JS file. It is going to execute a JS file, but that JS file does not exist here. If you observe that, it does not exist here. So what to do in this case? Let me do this. I'll open up a new window. I already have created a project. Let's say Cypress demo. Here I have that JS file. This is Cypress CLI.js. I'm going to copy this file. I'm going to open new window. Sorry, I'll close this window. We'll go back to the old window and I'll paste this file here. So if you see, Cypress CLI.js is now appended. Now inside Cypress CLI.js, we actually have our reporter, which is going to listen to the execution and then it's going to upload the report. Now where you would be able to find the text which is here inside this GitHub repository. So if you see inside the GitHub repository, here we have this reporter. This is how you would be able to add the reporter. And this is something that I have specified in Cypress CLI.js file that I have copy pasted from another project. Now, once you have Cypress CLI.js, you need to make some other changes as well inside the package.json. So here we have, this is our package.json. We need to add some other dependencies as well. But so that we don't get confused, I'm going to close this project so that we stick to our original project. Now, the dependencies that we need to add are also listed in the section. These are the dev dependencies, and this is the normal dependency that we are going to add. I'm going to copy paste these, and I'm going to stick these dependencies inside our project. So let's stick it. Now you can see that there are two dev dependencies section because this was something that was added when we installed Cypress, but no problem. We can take this out since version is same, so that we only have one dev dependency section. So these are the dependencies that we have, and this looks good to me. I'll save this file. And as of now, we have not installed these dependencies. If you see, we have installed this by making use of npm install Cypress, but these are the values that we have appended, which means they're not yet installed. So as to install them, you can go in your terminal and you can write npm install, which will basically go through the package.json, and it will install all the packages that are mentioned there, but that are not yet installed. So it will take care of them. And here you can see that it has added 4 packages. So all the packages that are specified inside package.json have been added now. This looks good to me. So seems like we have performed step number 7 as well successfully. Now, the other thing that we need to do is we need to copy test config.json now. The main aim of this particular file is that you should be able to integrate with desktops. Now, desktops allows you to manage multiple projects at a time. So whenever you are running a project on Cypress, this file will basically help Cypress identify to which particular desktops project your Cypress project is linked. Let me show that to you so that we should be able to remove any ambiguity that might be there in the explanation. So here you can see I have created a project. Inside this, I have multiple organizations, multiple projects. Similarly, if I go here and I click here, I can see that there are multiple projects. But if I select any project, say it's telling me to sign in, that's not a problem. I'll sign in. And if we go inside any project, it will basically give us I'll go to project, desktops org. This is the organization, this is the project. And here you can see that there's some project identifier or some project ID that you would be able to spot inside the URL. So this is team ID, this is project ID. So this project ID would basically go inside the configuration file. And if you want to see that configuration file from where it is coming, this is how that configuration file is going to look like. Now, things that you need to pass inside those configuration file are the base path of your project, which default value would be set to this. API key. Now, API key is Katalon specific parameter. If you have access to Katalon runtime engine, you would have these API key as well. Project ID. Now, this is the ID that we just saw inside the URL. This is the project ID 8665255 for this project. Similarly, when you create a new project on desktops, you would be having an project ID. You would get a project ID that you can make use of. Report folder and then proxy. In case if you are already using proxy, you can specify things for configuring the proxy. But in this case, I'm going to skip this proxy parameter, this field, and we're just going to stick with these 4 parameters since I'm not using proxy. So let me do this. I'll open up the new project pack again. Sorry, I'll cancel this. I'll open it up in new window. And our project was Cypress demo. Let's see, and here we have desktops config.json. I'm going to copy this. If you see, I specified my API key, base path, project ID, and inside report folder, I not specified anything. You can leave it empty. That's not a problem. I close that and I'll paste that file here. So inside this project also, now you can see that desktops config.json or tsconfig.json. You can name it as tsconfig.json as well. This file actually exists now, which will basically help Cypress identify to which particular project you want Cypress project so as to get linked with Katalon specific projects. So this is Katalon project side. I think we have went through all the steps. Let's see if there's something pending. No, there's nothing pending. We have went through all the steps. We have copied Cypress CLI as well as the desktop config.json. Last thing that we need to do is we need to run this command. So I'll copy this command, and let me explain you what this command is going to do is it's initially going to go inside a subfolder inside our root folder, and the subfolder name is Cypress, where the test resides. It's going to hit npm install, which means all the dependencies inside package.json would be installed automatically. And then it's going to do npm test, which is basically going to execute our test cases. Let's go back. We'll save everything. Now, if I go back, I'll just copy paste this command. So if you see, cd Cypress will basically get us inside this particular directory, and this directory is inside the root directory. So as of now, we are inside Katalon Cypress integration. We want to go inside Cypress. So you can see as of now, we are inside this. We want to go inside Cypress. Then we want to install dependencies, and then we want to run test. So npm test is going to make a call to node Cypress CLI.js, which is going to execute our test steps. Let's click enter. And here you would be able to see that it's loading up the configuration. It's running the specs. And you can see the green right marks. And towards the end, it's uploading the results on Katalon test steps, which was our final intention. So this is the server URL, and this is the test run URL. You can identify how the test execution went directly by going on to this URL that is provided to you on the console. Or you can go inside the project of yours. In this case, our project was this one. I can go inside the report section. So if I click on the reports, it would render all the reports. I'll click on test runs, so as to get reports aggregated out or sorted out on test runs. And here you can see it was executed a minute ago. This says execution completed in 5 seconds. And there were 4 specs inside it. All of them have passed. If I click on this ID, I can click on test results back again. And here I would be able to see that the first thing that we did was navigating to Katalon's demo application, logging in using our credentials, filling the registration form, and towards the end, we just verified whether the appointment that we booked was successful or not. So this is how the integration in between Cypress and Katalon is going to work. Whenever you execute anything using Cypress, reports would be uploaded directly onto Katalon desktops, where not only you would be able to look into these reports or see these reports, you would be able to link this report to releases. You would be able to do a proper release planning. You can identify anything that goes wrong within that particular release. You would be able to do test management as well. So all these things are taken care of automatically once you have your reports on Katalon desktops. So that was the end goal of the video. We are going to send you this video, and we will also send you the text file that we have created here, which comprises of all the steps. Do give it a try, and do let us know in case if you have any questions or queries. Thanks for taking out your time to learn more about this integration, to learn more about Katalon. And it's Bhagesh signing off. Have an awesome day ahead. Thank you.